Hey everyone, I think this is going to be a fun and challenging practice. Guest starring Luna the cat. We'll see how long she stays here. So we are literally going to let things slide. Being confined right in our homes, we don't necessarily have access to or the resources right to have the structure and the support we need right to attend to right our physical health, mental health, emotional health, maybe even financial health during this time, right? When we let things slide, right, it's this kind of neglect, right, that can lead to a level of deterioration. So in that vein of kind of letting things slide, or maybe trying to counter letting things slide, right, we are literally, like I said, going to slide around, let it slide. Using this unstable surface, right, the blanket, we can really target attention, engagement, activation in that area of the body. So all you need today is one blanket. You might want two blankets if you have sensitive knees for the initial sequence. And then two blocks or a stack of books or shoe boxes. We'll only need the blocks briefly. So I'm just going to put mine to the side for now. So again, no mats. You can see there's no mats. Just maybe a cat or a dog if you have one, and your blanket or two or towel. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to start in a child's pose shape. Right, with your hands on the blankets. Oh, watch out, Tunes. That was scary, huh? Luna doesn't like to let things slide. All right, so your knees are going to be hip width or wider than hip width, and bring your big toes to touch behind you. And then let your hips just rest back towards your heels. If your hips don't quite meet your heels, you can place something in between to kind of give you some support. And then hands can just be on the blankets. And then you're going to lower your head down towards the earth. And we're just going to stay here for a few moments, right, so we can come into our breath. So finding that level of attentive breath. And then an evenness on the inhale and exhale. This practice, this movement practice, right, is going to require maybe a little bit more activation or engagement through your tissues and muscles than maybe you're used to in a normal yoga practice. So it's ever more important to find that attention on the breath, right? We don't want to let our breath deteriorate, right? Neglect it. So when it begins to deteriorate, that's a sign that maybe we're pushing ourselves too much, but it's also going to reduce, right, the kind of nutrients that the breath brings to our body, to our muscles, to our tissues. So just a few more breaths here. After your next exhale, go ahead and just pull yourself forward into tabletop, all fours. Okay. So both hands are going to be on the blanket. And I just want to mention that as we move through this, right, sliding on the blanket, right, we can really make it easier on our bodies, right, once we gain momentum, right, just kind of moving it around in space. right? Using the momentum, and our body will want to move in that direction because it's easier, it's more efficient. Our body always wants to be as efficient as possible. But we really want to try to isolate that activation, that attention into the limb or limbs that we're sliding. All right, so on your next inhale, go ahead and press the blanket away slowly. You want to keep your hips over your knees as you press the blanket away. Letting your forehead come down is fine. And then on your next exhale, slowly press down your hands down to the blanket and slowly pull the blanket back in space, right? Without letting your hips move behind your knees. You should really begin to feel this through your arms and maybe even down into your abs. So inhale, press away. And you're always having this deep contact through your hands or your feet on the blanket, like you're pressing down. Give yourself a little bit of resistance. And then on your exhale, go ahead and pull back. Again, keep the hips over the knees. Let's do one more time, pressing the blanket slowly away. Again, with control, with attention. Right? Because when we neglect the control, the attention, right, that we're giving to these limbs, right, we can kind of just slip and slide all around, right? And we don't want to let that attention deteriorate. So we're back at table. You're going to switch the blanket just underneath your right hand. Right, left hand is grounded into the earth. Still in tabletop, still keeping hips over knees. So on your inhale, go ahead and press the blanket on a diagonal to the left. Right, and you can bend the left arm, you can lower your upper body, but again, keeping hips over your knees. And then slowly pull that blanket back so you're coming to tabletop. And then again, kind of on a diagonal. And then as you exhale, pull back. Trying to keep the arms straight. One more. Nice. And then as you come back to the table, let's switch to the left side. All right, once you're set up, hips over knees, go ahead and sweep the blanket on a diagonal to the right this time. Again, you can lower your upper body. You can bend the right arm. And then as you exhale, press down through your hand and bring the blanket back towards you so you end up back at tabletop. Right, inhale, press over to the right. So you should be feeling this up through your upper arms, around your shoulder joints and around your rotator cuff, right? So the kind of front and back side of your shoulder, maybe even down your side body, right? Because as we're pulling back, right, we're also kind of targeting the lats, right, which run down the back to your low back. Nice. All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch the blankets to our feet. So not on your knees, just on your feet. Actually, I'm going to turn around so you can see this. Okay. All right, so you're in table. And then the blanket is just going to be, let's just do the right foot first. And again, you're going to think about keeping the hips over your knees. And your toes are curled under and the ball of your foot is grounded into the blanket. Go ahead and straighten that right leg straight back behind you. So foot is on the blanket. Right? And look back at your left leg. And just notice that your left hip should be over your left knee, right? You don't want the hip swinging out in space, right? So we're going to try to maintain that as we target this right leg. So on the inhale, go ahead and sweep your right leg out to the right and forward. You'll spin onto the inner edge of that foot. Right? You can go as far forward as you want. right? And then drag it back. So you're kind of making half circles with your right foot, and you're transitioning from the ball of your foot when it's straight behind you, right? And then coming into that inner edge of the foot as you come out to the side and a little bit forward. And again, hopefully you notice that my left hip is not moving in space at all. Again, so we're targeting this action through our right leg. Let's do this one more time. And this whole time I'm really grounded down strongly, right, through the foot on the blanket. Nice. And then you can release the right knee down. Let's switch sides. So blanket is underneath your left foot. I'm just going to move over a little bit so I don't hit my furniture in this room. All right, so left leg straight back. Take a look back at your right knee, hip. You want to keep that verticality there. And then when you're ready on your inhale, go ahead and sweep out to the left. And maybe a little bit forward. This side's a lot harder for me. I saw my right hip jut out to the side. And then slowly sweep it back. And then 2 more times. My right leg is a lot weaker than my left. So I can feel myself having to work a lot more with the right leg, right? The leg that's not even sliding, right? So I'm getting like 2 for 1. Right? Attention to both legs. The leg that's moving and the leg that's stable in space. All right, so that was 3 times. Now, I'm just going to turn my orientation again. We're going to place the blanket underneath both feet, not knees, just feet. So toes curled under. Right, and come to tabletop. Okay. And then you're just going to float your knees just about 1 centimeter off the ground, maybe 1 inch somewhere in between, right? And you want to keep this relationship, right, these 90-degree angles of your lower body. As you begin to walk your right hand forward, right, and then your left, right? So you're pulling your lower body with you as you go forward. See, and then you're going to begin to walk backwards with control, trying to stabilize through the pelvis as you move. Let's do 1 more forward, 1 more back. If you need to take a rest, please do so. So beginning to pull yourself forward. Right. Legs are, it's almost like your legs are stuck in this shape, right? This 90-degree shape as you use your upper body to pull yourself forward and push yourself back. Okay. I'm just going to move a little bit more forward so I'm more centered. Go ahead and straighten your legs now so you come to plank. Okay. You're going to hold here. Press down through your hands and ground the balls of your feet, right? So you're not sliding too far back or too far forward, right? It's a little bit harder to maintain the shoulders over your wrists when you're on the blanket. Right? And then you're going to walk down to your forearms. So come into forearm plank. You can interlace your hands if you'd like. Holding here. And then slowly release down to your knees. And then pelvis. And then low belly. Tops of the feet ground down into the blanket. You can keep your hands how they are, or if you want to bring them shoulder width distance for a traditional Sphinx shape. Ground down through your hands, wrists, elbows. And then gently tug back in space to lift your heart. You can let your pelvis be soft here. Coming back to your breath. All right, we don't want to neglect our breath, because our breath is not only a barometer as we move through maybe this more challenging sequence, right? Challenging for our muscles and tissues, but also helps feed those muscles and tissues so we can fully express the movements, right? So we can support the movements, right? So they don't deteriorate, so we don't neglect them. Take one more inhale and exhale. All right, interlace your hands if they're not. Curl your toes under. You're going to lift up your pelvis into forearm plank. Right, shoulders over elbows. Right, the tendency is to go forward here so you feel more stable, right with this blanket underneath your toes. Right, and then you're going to press up into plank. And then you're going to step your right foot forward to a lunge. Or help it forward. So your left foot is still on the blanket. So here, if you need blocks, you're going to grab your blocks, right, to give yourself some space here. Right. So with the left foot on the blanket, we're going to be targeting our left leg up into our hip joint. So we're trying to maintain this stillness through the rest of our body. All right, so on your exhale, you're going to pull your left foot forward, knee bends, and then straighten. So hopefully you can see there is little to no movement in my body except for this left leg up into the hip joint. We're going to do 5 of these. Right, that was 5. So as that leg straightens, right, you can stay here with the blocks, maybe up level, or you can walk your hands up onto your front thigh. Okay. And lean your torso. You can pitch your torso forward so it's more at an angle, right? And then, okay, remember, we're isolating the movement to the left leg. So on your exhale, go ahead and slide that blanket forward. And try to do it 5 times, right? So there's more load in the front leg here, right? So the move becomes more challenging. We don't have that extra support with our hands on the blocks if you moved your hands off the blocks. I think that was 4. So we'll do 1 more. Whew. And then straighten. Release your hands down to the blocks. And then place the blocks to the side for a moment so you can step back to plank. I'm going to hold in plank. And again, feel your shoulders over your wrists. Right? It requires way more strength, right? So that the blanket doesn't slowly sneak away from you. And then you're going to lower down to your forearms. Forearm plank. And then you're slowly going to release knees, pelvis, low belly. Maybe bringing your arms, your forearms, shoulder width distance, tops of feet ground down for a Sphinx pose. Come back to your breath. One more breath. All right, we're going to come back through forearm plank. And then plank. Shoulders over wrists. And then we're going to step left foot forward. Or just get that foot forward any way you can. Grab your blocks if you're going to use your blocks. My left hip is tighter than my right, so I'm going to up level my blocks on this side. Okay. Isolating the movement to the right leg, right hip. On your exhale, pull the foot forward, knee bends, and then straighten. And bend. And straighten. So as you're sliding this blanket forward, notice what's happening with your left foot. Are you still grounded down? Are you dumping all your weight into your hands? Right, try to use that left leg, the power of the left leg, so you don't dump all the weight into your hands and your wrist. I think that was 5. Right, and then you're gonna either Keep your hands on the blocks or walk your hands up to your front thigh. And you can pitch your torso forward. This side's going to be a lot harder for me. All right, so on your exhale, go ahead and sweep that leg forward. Whew. So we're going to do 5 here. I can feel myself, right? It's more difficult for me to isolate this movement in my leg on this side again because my right leg is weaker. And then one more. Is your breath deteriorating? Let it be deep and long. And then hands down. Put the blocks to the side. And step back to plank, both feet on the blanket. Take an inhale here, shoulders over wrists. On your exhale, you're going to begin to sweep your feet towards your hands. Try to keep the legs straight as possible. Come into a forward fold, Uttanasana. As you land here, you can go ahead and sway your hips, your head, your arms. Again, taking this pause to come back to your breath, to give yourself the attention, to give your breath the attention that it needs. So you're not neglecting it. Right, on your next inhale, come up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Your hands can slide up to your shins. And then as you exhale, you can go ahead and fold. Inhale, let's come all the way up. You're going to reach your arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. And then you can bring your hands through heart center, Anjali Mudra, and then lump by your side. Right, I am just going to pull my hair back, so I'm starting to sweat. Right, so using this unstable surface, this blanket, right, really requires muscle engagement to find stability, right? And when we engage our muscles, heat is produced, thus I'm sweating. Okay. Almost there. So we're going to come into Tadasana with both, actually no, let's just do right foot on the blanket. Just your right foot. So I'm going to move these blocks out of the way. Right, my head's chopped off, but it doesn't matter, you don't need to see it for where we're going. Okay. So bend into your knees, come into a chair pose. It doesn't have to be super deep. You can bring your hands to your hips, right? You can pitch your torso forward as much as you want. Okay. And then similar to when we were in table, right? Everything stays as still as possible. We're just going to focus on the right leg. Press the right leg out to the right. You're going to sweep it back behind you. And then over to the left. Yep. All right, so coming back through to chair. Okay, so again, you're trying to minimize any movement except for in this right leg, keeping your pelvis heavy, right? Not letting your pelvis lift up as you move this right leg through space. And then back. I had us doing, just one more. I had us doing 5 reps of all of these. But my muscles are already fatiguing. I'm shaking, so we're only doing 3 reps of this. Coming back to chair. Okay, take an inhale and exhale here. Keep the pelvis low. This time we're just gonna slide the right leg out to the right and hold. So go ahead and slide it out, slide it out, slide it out. Okay, and we're gonna turn our left toes out and begin to bend deeper into that left knee so you can bring your hands down. If you need to grab your blocks here to bring the earth to you, then go ahead and do that. So maybe you're in this kind of side lunge. If you want to come into deeper flexion at the knee, coming to more of a skandasana, you can do so. right? Whatever works for your body, whatever range of motion you have this morning. Stay here for 2 more breaths. Pressing down through your fingers. Let's lift the pelvis up. So we're setting back up more for that chair shape, hands on your hips, right? Instead of this foot coming back, we're swinging it behind us and to the left, crossing the leg behind us. Have furniture in the way, so I'm trying to make my way over. Right. And then this time you're going to release your right hand down, right, slowly, and lift your left arm up. So it's kind of like you're in a modified side plank pose, Vashisthasana. Right, maybe you're on the pinky edge of that left foot. Lift your hips. One more inhale. And as you exhale, you can release that left hand down, so you can begin to lift your torso out, coming back more to that chair shape, hands on your hips, foot swings back. Whew. To the right, chair. Come up to stand. Just take a moment to feel. Feel all of that power, that attention in your left leg. Let's switch sides. So I'm just going to move a little bit forward just so I'm not hitting my furniture in here. This is my such a small room. Okay. So hands on your hips, bring a bend into your knees. Again, it doesn't have to be your deepest chair pose. And actually you probably don't want your deepest chair pose. It's going to be more challenging. Okay. So 3 times when you're ready, leg out to the left, straight out, abduction. Right. And then sweep it behind you. Right. So you come up to the ball of the foot, and then press the leg over to the right. Okay. Abduction. Right. Swing the foot behind you, out to the left, swing it back into chair. Okay, so 2 more times. So this is targeting, obviously amongst other things, your outer thighs and your inner thighs, right? Within your full range of motion. Right. So using this slidey surface, it's that really specific and deep attention, right, to these muscles and tissues, or just requiring them to work, right, to recruit these muscles. I'm sure you're feeling it on your right leg as much as your left. Right, come back to chair. Okay. So without this hip moving, right, we have to recruit the muscles to stabilize, since the left leg is not stable on the blanket. All right, so legs straight out to the left. I'm not mirroring you if you haven't figured that out yet. Right. And then as you go kind of to your widest point, then you can bring your hands down to the earth or blocks, right? So maybe you're staying in this side lunge. You can turn your right toes out if you want, right? Keeping your pelvis high, or if you want to come deeper into more of a skandasana shape, you can do so. You can stay here if you use your fingers as balance. If you feel like you want more balance, you can come with your hands at heart center. I'm going to keep my hands down because I can feel my muscles fatiguing. I'm trying to give them a little bit of rest. One more inhale and exhale. All right, so we're gonna walk back up to that chairish shape on the right side. Hands on your hips. Your left leg is still out to the left. Right, so now we have to sweep it behind us. Stabilize that right leg and over to the right. Left hand comes down slowly. Right arm high for this modified side plank pose. Lift your hips. One more inhale and exhale. All right, right hand comes down so you can help yourself up more to that chair shape through the right side. Stabilize the right side. Hands can be on your hips. Slide the blanket back, out to the left, back to chair. Slowly come up to stand. Release your arms and just come back to your breath. All right, so if you have a blanket, right, kind of a traditional yoga blanket, you're gonna unfold it so it's long in half though, okay? If you have a towel, just fold it so you have it at its longest length. All right, you might wanna fold it in half depending how big the towel is. And you might want to grab your blocks, have your blocks handy. So yeah, grab your blocks. You're gonna place them in front of the blanket, about hip width distance. You can start maybe the highest height. You can always down level, right? Okay, so we're gonna step on the blanket. So just move slowly here with control. So we're gonna step our feet wide. And maybe just kind of heel toe your foot out so you get to the width that you want. All right, to kind of maintain this shape, we tend to kind of dump our weight to the inner edge of the foot, so really ground down through the outer edge, hug your legs towards one another. And then we're just gonna fold forward until we can place our hands on the blocks. Right. So place the blocks so they're underneath the shoulders. You wanna feel your hips over, in line with your ankles, right? So your hips aren't too far back or too far forward. All right, so again, we're going to target the inner thighs and outer thighs, your abductors and adductors. All right, so on your exhale, you're going to sweep your legs towards one another. And you should feel that in the inner thighs. And then inhale, go ahead and press them away. Slowly with control, right? It can be easy just to let it slide out. You want to do it with control to target these inner and outer thighs. And then inhale out with control. Notice if you're jumping your weight into the inner or outer edge of the foot, ground down through them evenly as you sweep your legs towards one another. Let's do this 2 more times. I notice my hips are way forward here as I'm doing this. You're gonna try to keep your ankles, hips in line, right? So on the exhale, go ahead and sweep. So much harder. I'm gonna down level the blocks. And then one more time, hip in line with your ankles, right? So you're not far forward or far back. Hips over the ankles, feel an even grounding through the feet. On your exhale, go ahead and sweep towards one another. Nice. Now I'm just gonna change orientation a bit so you can see where we're going next. Okay. All right, so feet out wide, actually not quite as wide, right, as they were. So wider than hip width, but not as wide as a wide leg forward fold. So maybe about 2-ish, 2.5 feet. All right, so you're gonna begin to walk your hands a little bit forward. Right, so you can slide your feet back. You're coming to a wide leg plank shape. Right, so I'm gonna down level my blocks so I feel more stable. You can ditch the blocks totally if you want. So feet are out wide, right? On your exhale, you're gonna cross your right leg over your left, your knees bend. Right, hug your inner thighs, and then back out to plank. All right, so you're trying to keep now left over right. You're trying to keep your shoulders over your wrists as you move through this. The tendency is, again, so keep switching, is to move the shoulders forward of the wrists, right? And then, which requires less work. So you'll feel it more in your core if you keep your shoulders over your wrists. Is your breath degrading? Find your deep inhale and exhale. I think that was 3. Nice. Slide your feet forward. Oh, forward fold. Feet can be as wide as you want. Just let your head be heavy. You can sway your hips from side to side. This is a lot more challenging to practice this and cue than to just practice. So I'm sure you can hear my breath is deteriorating, but hopefully you have a handle, a tension on yours, since you can just focus on the movement and breath. Take 2 more inhales and exhales. On your inhale, come up halfway. You can slide your hands up to your shins. Spine is long. On your exhale, go ahead and fold. On your inhale, let's sweep the arms all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, hands through heart center and long by your side. All right, so we're gonna refold the blanket or your towel back to that original square-ish shape. Okay. And then you can place your blocks to the side. Don't need them anymore. Okay. So both feet are going to be on the blanket. So I'm just going to move it forward. Right. So feet are hip width, toes pointing straight forward. So you're setting yourself in a mountain shape Tadasana. On your inhale, go ahead and reach your arms high. And then as you exhale, go ahead and hinge at the hips, bow all the way forward. Uttanasana. On your inhale, come up halfway. And then as you exhale, fold. You're going to stay folded. You're going to plant your hands on the floor. Right? Shoulder width distance. Bend your knees as much as you need to get your hands on the floor. Right? Because on your inhale, you're going to shoot your legs back, but with control, right? To plank pose. So only your legs are moving. Shoulders stay over your wrists. Plank. Okay? On your exhale, you're going to sweep your feet forward. Uttanasana. You're trying to keep your legs as straight as possible. Right? So I want to remind everyone, we're going to do 2 more of these. Right? It can be really easy to just kind of use momentum, right? To go forward and back, kick forward and back. Right? It's more about control here and isolating the movement into the limbs that we're using. Okay? So ground down through your hands, knees bend as much as they need to. Right? Slowly press back. So feet are pressing down and back, slow, slow, slow with control. Keep your shoulders over your wrists. And as your legs straighten, you come into plank. On your next exhale, go ahead and sweep legs forward. Don't let your shoulders, try not to let your shoulders come forward of your wrists. Ugh. Hard, hard, hard. Okay, I feel that in my hip flexors. One more time. Inhale, press back. Shoulders stay over wrists. Okay, are you neglecting your breath? Find that even inhale and exhale. And this time sweep your legs forward. Hips high. Uttanasana. Inhale, come up halfway. On your exhale, you can fold. Right, as you stay folded, this time we're going to bring your feet as wide as the blanket. Maybe your toes are a little pointed out here. And then we're going to, again, ground down through the palms of both hands, shoulder width distance. Bend your knees as much as you need to. So same but different, right? So on the inhale, go ahead and press back into this wide-legged plank. Shoulders stay over wrists. Right. This time though, as we sweep forward,
right? Your knees are going to come out wide, so on either side of your elbows, right? So on your exhale, right, pelvis stays low. So it's almost like you're coming into a crow prep. I'm going to shift myself back so you can see better. Right. So straighten your legs. Inhale, press back. Plank pose, shoulders over wrists. On your exhale, get a sweep forward, knees out wide. Release your feet, straighten your legs. Forward fold. Inhale, press back. Exhale, slide forward, knees out to the side. Nice. So I'm going to stay here with your knees out wide and release heels down, coming to yogi squat. So you need to adjust your feet here. Right, you can keep your hands on the earth or bring your hands to heart center. Right, Anjali Mudra. Let your spine be long. Coming back to your breath, bringing attention to your breath. Not letting your breath slide, not compromising your breath. You can release your hands behind you. And you just kind of come to sit off of the blanket. Okay. And then you're just going to spin around on your butt. So the blanket is behind you. And you're going to place your hands on the blanket, fingertips face away from you. Right. Knees are bent, feet are hip width distance. Right. So with control, right, on the inhale, we're going to press our hands long behind us. Think about keeping your spine neutral and long, right? So you're not overarching or rounding the spine. Right? And then ground down through your hands and slowly pull them back towards you. Keep your spine in neutral. The tendency here, right, is to overarch as your back body is activating, is engaging. So slowly press back with control on the inhale. Spine in neutral. Pelvis neutral. No tucking, right? And then slowly on the exhale, bring your hands back in space. I think that was 3. We're going to do 2 more. Okay, so it should feel really good. So we're opening up through the chest, your pecs on your front body. And then we're really activating through the back muscles, your rotator cuff, your shoulders, your arms here. Nice. 1 more. Spine in neutral as you slowly come back. And exhale, come back forward. Keep your arms exactly where they are. Grind down through your feet. Lift your pelvis into reverse table. Purvottanasana. Take 1 more inhale. And then exhale, release pelvis down. I'm just going to change my orientation a bit. So the blanket's still behind you. Knees are still bent. You're going to let your knees fall over to the right. Okay, so you can either, I don't know if you can see this, you can cradle the top ankle in the foot arch, or you can stagger your feet, whatever feels better in your body. If you need a towel underneath your ankles, it doesn't feel awesome on the floor, then go ahead and do that. I'm not mirroring you, left hand to right thigh. Just your right hand is on the blanket. And you're beginning to turn towards the right. Then you're going to think about slowly, with control, pressing the blanket out away from you, so behind you. Yep. And then as you exhale, press your hand down to the blanket and slowly pull back. And we're going to do that a few times. So you should feel this and your upper arm, around your shoulder joint, and even down into your side body. So we're getting into the serratus and the lats again as you pull back. You can even experiment if you like. Actually, let's do it this time. I'm just going to again change my orientation so you can see. As you press away, if you want to come down to your forearm, so your forearm's totally on the blanket. And then pull back with your forearm on the blanket. And then peel the elbow up. You might get a different sensation right up through your side body and upper arm. So let's do one more. I'm going to press away. Maybe the forearm comes down. And then slowly pull back. And then elbow comes up. Nice. So this time we're going to press away and keep the blanket away from our body. I'm going to take the left hand onto the blanket. So we're going to turn down towards the floor. Right. Maybe our hands stay on the blanket. Maybe you come down to forearms. Right. Just so we're coming into a twist. Right. Kind of a cross between Bharadvajasana's twist and Bridget's cross. Allowing yourself to reacquaint your body with your breath. Right, slowly, want to bring your torso upright. Your right forearm or hand stays on the blanket. You can place your left hand on your right thigh. Right, and then you're slowly going to pull back. So the blanket comes back towards your body, your pelvis. Let's switch sides. So blanket comes to your left. Knees drop over to the left. You can stagger your feet or cradle. Right hand to left thigh. I'm not mirroring you. So on your inhale, go ahead and slowly push the blanket away with control. And then as you exhale, press the hand down to slowly bring it back. Nice. And you can play with the angle that you're pressing away and pulling back with to see if that creates different sensation up through your arm, your shoulder girdle, and your side body. The more it's kind of behind you, that your arm's an extension, you should feel it in your triceps a little bit more, right? The underside of your arms. And the more you're kind of going forward and to the side, you're going to be targeting more the front here, the interior part of your arm. Right, so I think this will be the 5th one. So this time maybe try, if you haven't already, sliding down to your forearm as you press it away. And then ground onto the forearm and slowly pull it back. And then the elbow peels away to your hand. All right, this time we're going to press away and hold with the blanket away from our body. Once you kind of come to a good distance, begin to turn towards the blanket, heart towards the blanket. So both forearms or hands come to the blanket. So you're coming into this twist. And with your left arm and shoulder, just doing the left side, just feel the difference between your left and right side. I feel this energy moving through my left arm, shoulder, left side body. There's deep attention, right, to that area. One more inhale, exhale. And keeping the left arm on the blanket. Right hand comes back to your thighs. And either with the forearm or on your hands, slowly begin to pull back. If you're on the elbow, elbow eventually lifts up as you come closer. Nice. And then you're gonna set up with your knees facing up towards the ceiling. Knees are bent. And again, hands are behind you. Okay. And fingertips face away from you. And then you're slowly just going to press the blanket away. And you can let your hands slide off the blanket and out wide. Right? So you just really come to lie down. Okay? So the blankets can be underneath your head, your upper back. If you feel like it'll be more comfortable somewhere else on your body. So we're going to come into a Shavasana shape. Okay, so your legs are long. Again, if this doesn't feel good on your body, you can bend your knees or place a blanket underneath your pelvis. Arms by your side, palms face up. Feel the attention, right, coursing through your body. Feel a full body breath. Bringing attention back to that deliberate breath, feeling it to breathe life back into your physical form. Maybe even bringing a little bit of movement into fingertips and toe tips. And if you want to reach your arms overhead for a full body stretch, go ahead and do so. Just slowly bring knees towards your chest. And you can roll onto whatever side is comfortable for you. So you can make your way up to a comfortable seat. And bringing your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. And just taking a soft gaze down towards your fingertips so we can sit in gratitude of this practice. This practice of breath, this practice of movement, this practice of bringing attention to our body, to our form, not neglecting it, not letting it slide. I sit in gratitude of you, right, for taking this time for yourself, right, to be attentive for yourself, for your body. May all beings be happy and free and healthy. And together we can say Namaste. I hope you enjoyed that challenging, maybe a little bit fun practice. And maybe your floors are a little bit cleaner than they were. If you have any questions, of course, reach out to me. Otherwise, enjoy your day, your night, whatever you're doing. And I just want to show you Luna. She wants to say hi and bye too. She's really tired. All right, thank you.